Call the meeting in the order. The agenda of the town council in regular session Thursday, June 19th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. at the Oromocto Municipal Building. I'll ask for a mover for approval of the agenda. Councillor Von Richter, seconder, Councillor Kirkbride. Questions? All in favor? Contrary? Motion carried. Is there any disclosure of interest? Nope. Okay, we'll move right down to the mayor's comments. On 25th of May, I had the special privilege of being the reviewing officer for the 341 Nipigon Air Cadets Special 25th Annual Ceremonial Review. So it felt pretty important. And then on the 27th of May, I attended the Hubbard Annual Career Day event, and so did the Oromocto Fire Department firefighters were there too, so it was well attended. And the 13th, Friday, Councillor Don us went to the opening of the boat club. So it was short and sweet, not as good as it usually was, but. And I just have a special announcement. A longtime teacher, Blake Kennedy, has passed, and he was a good friend of mine. And that's why I'm wearing the Maple Leaf fan, because him and me were diehard Maple Leaf fans. And he was a vice principal, and a teacher for over 33 years in the Oromocto school. So rest in peace, Zeke. All right. We'll move on to the adoption of the minutes. 22nd of May, 2025, in regular session at the Oromocto Municipal Building. We'll move down to councillors' reports. Oh, yes, I need to move. Sorry. Councillor Goss, seconder. Councillor Henry, questions? All in favor? Contrary? Motion carried. Move down to council reports. We'll start with the Capital Service Commission report. And I'll start with mine. We had a meeting on, where are we here? The 3rd of June, and we had a meeting, and it was a tour of the Fredericton landfill, and then we had a luncheon, and then we had a meeting, and we went over a few things. The aquatic center is now up to $81.3 million from the $74.2 million it was about 4 months ago. But there's still no impression on us to do anything, but Fredericton is still trying. Then they went over the finance committee. The finance committee met on the 3rd of June, and they went over mostly the finance key meetings and times. So tentatively it's going to be August 14th that the finance committee is going to meet. August 21st, they're going to meet again if required. August 28th, they're going to have a committee of the whole. September 4th is committee of the whole. September 11th is presented to the board. September 15th presented to the CEOs. September 20th, amendments are due. October 27th is the earliest the budget can be voted on, and November 1st is the deadline of the budget. So that's what they pretty well went over. So that's my report on that one. We'll move to 7A1, the Economic Expansion Committee with Deputy Mayor Mooney.
Thank you, Your Worship. There has been no meeting this month. We are meeting on Monday, this coming.
Oh, perfect. So we'll move to 7A2, the Community Development Committee with Councillor Dodd.
Thank you, Worship. We did meet on Tuesday, June the 10th. I do it by Zoom. And a few agenda items. There was a presentation by Greater Fredericton Social Innovation and Civic Tech, a group of technicians that put together wonderful packages on the CRSC goals. And then they also did a data analysis on income, education, and employment in the Greater Fredericton Capital Region. And that was quite informative, but we don't have a, I think I might ask for one. They also, Lise Moran always gives an update on the 8 projects, and it was about where we are now, what's been accomplished and what is yet to be accomplished. And then the Capital Region Resiliency Network updated by Carrie Bedford, so those are always updated. Our next meeting is scheduled, I believe, for July the 8th.
Right. Okay. Moving now to 7B, the Oromocto Healthcare Committee. We met on June 16th at 5:30 here in council chambers. The Horizon Health, Stefan Lebrez was here, and he talked about the functional plan for communities without all service community health clinics. And Oromocto's on the list in the next coming years if they can find a spot. And so he filled us in on the process, and he's new, come from PEI, but he's new, and he seemed to be pretty sharp and more sharper than most that we've met. And he's gonna give us a square footage of something that we would need if we're gonna make a medical clinic there, so. The Fredericton Health Recruitment Committee is hosting a resident health providers weekend, July 11th and 13th. And they're gonna give Oromocto from 10:30 to 4 PM on the Saturday on the 12th, so we can engage them. We're trying to put in place what we're gonna do because it depends on the weather. And now that the Grimross is closed down and the kayaking and canoeing is closed down, it cuts down our options. But if it's raining, we might take them to the golf simulator and then take them up to the base museum and stuff like that. Just try to keep them occupied. Plus, they're going to do an hour or so visit to the Oromocto Public Hospital. So it was discussed about the new proposed health clinic in front of the Base Arena in the old Civic building. It's going to be for military families, Indigenous First Nations, and Oromocto residents without medical care. But there's more to follow because there's some hiccups between the province and the feds, and so there's more to that. In September 24th to the 26th, the resident education fair, where they're bringing down this 3rd and 4th year medical students. Last year it was in Dalhousie, and the year before that it was in Digby, and now there's going to be in St. Andrews. So we're going to start preparing for that. And that's all I have. So we'll move down to 7C, the Planning and Advisory Committee with Deputy Mayor Mahoney.
Thank you, Richard. We met on June the 4th. The committee recommended in favor of proposed bylaw 510-E and 522-I. The committee also recommended a provision to limit the hours of operation for the car wash. And you saw that in your packages the other night. The PAC also granted a variance for a similar and compatible use at the property of 1000 Wassis Road, which would be the former Freeman's, to be able to allow up to 6 cars to be sold from that location. It's not an in-person vehicle sales lot at all. It's simply an individual who buys and sells vehicles online. And they ship them in and out. They said a lot of times the vehicles that they buy never actually land in Oromocto. They buy them online and from somewhere in Upper Canada, and they ship them directly to the sender or to the buyer. So they did allow up to 6 cars to be stored there. The PAC approved. Also, there was an application to allow a duplex in an R1 zone for property at 12 Campbell Court. That variance was unanimously defeated by the PAC, as they did not feel that it was a similar type of dwelling unit to the rest of the community. And that is all.
So did they buy Freeman's building?
Yes, that was purchased, I think, last year.
Okay. Right off. All right. Any questions or comments, council? We'll go to 7D, the Library Committee by Councillor Dodd.
Thank you, Richard. We met on May the 27th for both our regular monthly meeting and our AGM. Just a few items from the regular meeting. Again, additional books were purchased and some new shelving for the children's section. from the money that they're raising from the sale of their photocopies and the book sales and the plant sales and all of that. They're focusing on getting some new things while they can at a good price and for future moving to the new building. They did have a successful plant sale on the 31st, so thank you to the town for the use of the digital board to advertise. And of course, there was lots of people who donated and brought in plants and cuttings. Kirsten presented her director's report for April and June. And just again, I'd like to point out that the traffic is still reasonably good. She does it for March and April, because we had our meeting in May. And there was 3,337 people in March and 3,011 in April. Programs are still consistently high, 35 and 25. And she has participants, and she's also now added a line for the reference questions. So, and they seem to be increasing, 569 and 546. These are not repetitive questions, they are from different people who are asking. They added the additional adults program that they have included workshops like sunlight printing and wall hanging and bookmarks and stuff seem to continue to be successful, and they're filled every month. So she's quite pleased with that. After the conclusion of the 8-week preschool story time in April, the library held a series to promote skills for kindergarten readiness for May. And just the weekly drop-ins continue as well. It draws families with children and infancy to preschool. And that's about it for that. The extra that we have, sorry, was the AGM. And basically we went over the presentation of the financial statements from 23 to 24. Director Kirsten Sheridan presented her yearly highlights, and I will ask to have that attached because it was quite interesting, both sides. That's for the year, the stats. And we held a strategic planning exercise as well, which is interesting to see what we want our library to be to the community. And then there was nominations called for the board, and that was it.
Right. And we move down to 70, the Oromocto Area Chamber of Commerce for Councilor Dunn.
Thank you, Worship. June the 19th, or June the 11th was the chamber meeting. And of course, the 2025 OHS scholarship, the applicants were provided. We used a scoring matrix, and the board selected Ethan Knorr for our OHS scholarship. Then we talked about the business after hours, which we hosted last night from 4:30 to 6:30. The guests were to be provided with $20, a $20 ticket to purchase their meal. And the food was, well, the tickets didn't turn out, so we just actually purchased our meal, but it was the King's Express food truck, I believe, that's what it is, and it's delicious. And the event had a good turnout, great networking, not to mention the food and the prizes, of which I won one. And then Deb asked members of the board to let her know their intent to the offer for the 25-26 chamber board. And we take a break for the summer, July and August, so our next meeting will be September 10th.
Well,
10th.
you. All right, we'll move down to the last one, 7F, the Oromocto Fine Art Gardens with Deputy Mayor Maloney.
Thank you, Worship. We had a meeting yesterday. I was unable to attend because I was at the memorial for Lake County. But I do know if there was anything urgent, I would have heard by now. So all is going well, Lord.
Perfect. All right, we'll move down to 8, the consideration of bylaws. We'll start with 8A, the second reading and proposed bylaw 510-E, and the CEO, John Jackson.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is the second reading and in its entirety of proposed bylaw 510E, a bylaw to amend the municipal plan for the town of Oromocto, be enacted the mayor and councilors of the town of Oromocto under authority vested in by section 117 of the Community Planning Act. As follows, that Schedule B of bylaw 510 dated March 17, 2016 is amended by the attached schedule dated March 31st, 2025, read first time by title only 17 April 2025, read second time in its entirety 19 June 2025.
Call for a mover. Council Von Richter, seconder, Deputy Mayor Mawini, questions, all in favor? Contrary, motion carried. Move to 8B, the third reading by title only for enactment of proposed bylaw 510-E.
So this is the third reading by title only for enactment of proposed bylaw 510E, a bylaw to amend the municipal plan for town of Oromocto, read first time by title only 17 April 2025, read second time in its entirety 19 June 2025, and read third time by title only for enactment 19 June 2025.
Call for a mover, Councilor Murdoch. Seconder, Councilor Henry, questions, all in favor? Contrary, motion carried. Move to 8C, the second reading in its entirety of proposed bylaw 510-F.
So this is bylaw 510F, second reading in its entirety, a bylaw to amend the municipal plan for the town of Oromocto. Acted the mayor and councilors of the town of Oromocto under authority vested in it by section 117 of the Community Planning Act as follows: that Schedule B of bylaw 510 dated March 17, 2016 is amended by the attached Schedule G dated March 31, 2025, read first time by title only 17 April 2025, read second time in its entirety 19 June 2025.
Okay, mover, Councilor Daw, seconder, Councilor Von Richter, questions, all in favor? Contrary, motion carried. Go to 8D, the third reading by title only for enactment of proposed bylaw 510-F.
So this is third reading by title only for enactment of proposed bylaw 510F, a bylaw to amend the municipal plan for the town of Oromocto, read first time by title only 17 April 2025, read second time in its entirety 19 June 2025, and read third time by title only for enactment 19 June 2025.
All for mover, Councilor Kirkbride, seconder, Deputy Mayor Mawini, questions, all in favor? Contrary, motion carried. Go to 8E, the second reading in its entirety of proposed bylaw 522-I.
Thank you, your worship. So this is second reading in its entirety of proposed bylaw 522I, a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw for the town of Oromocto. Be it enacted, the mayor and councilors of the town of Oromocto under authority vested in it by section 117 of the Community Planning Act as follows: that bylaw 522, the town of Oromocto zoning bylaws amended by amending Schedule A dated April 20th, 2017, with the attached Schedule J dated March 31st, 2025, and adding the following to the local commercial zone in section 3.6. Zone, local commercial, civic address. This amendment relates solely to the property having civic numbers 68 and 70 Miramichi Road, portion of PID 6018251, as shown on attached Schedule J. Permitted uses can be amended by adding the following to section 3.6 subsection 2, car wash. Read first time by title only 17 April 2025, read second time in its entirety 19 June 2025.
Call for removal, Councilor Daw, seconder, Deputy Mayor Mawini, questions, all in favor? Contrary, motion carried. Move to 8F, the third reading by title only of enactment of proposed bylaw 5222I.
So this is the third reading by title only for enactment of proposed bylaw 522I, a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw for the town of Oromocto, read first time by title only 17 April 2025, read second time in its entirety 19 June 2025, read third time by title only for enactment 19 June 2025.
Call for mover, Councilor Murdoch, seconder, Councilor Henry, questions, all in favor? Contrary, motion carried. Move to eight G, the second reading in its entirety of proposed bylaw 522-J.
So this is second reading in its entirety of proposed bylaw 522J, a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw for the town of Oromocto. Be it enacted, the mayor and councilors of the town of Oromocto, under authority vested in it by section 117 of the Community Planning Act, as follows: that Schedule A of bylaw 522 dated April 20th, 2017 is amended by the attached Schedule K dated March 31st, 2025. Read first time by title only 17 April 2025. Read second time in its entirety 19 June 2025.
For mover, Councilor Murdoch, seconder, Saban Victor, questions, all in favor? Contrary, motion carried. We move to H, third by title only for enactment of proposed bylaw 522-J.
So this is third reading by title only of enactment of proposed bylaw 522J, a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw for the town of Oromocto. Read first time by title only 17 April 2025. Read second time in its entirety 19 June 2025. Read third time by title only for enactment 19 June 2025.
Call for remover. Councilor Henry, seconder. Councilor Daw, questions, all in favor? Contrary, motion carried. No unfinished business, so we'll move down to 10 new business. We'll start with 10A, the summer meeting dates for council with Councilor Henry.
Thank you, Richard. Be resolved that the summer meeting dates for council and committee shall be changed to Monday, July 14th, Monday, August 18th, 2025.
Call for seconder. Deputy Mayor Mawini, questions, all in favor? Contrary, motion carried. Go to 10B, the holiday relief firefighting hire with Councilor Kirkbride.
Thank you, worship. Be resolved that Simon Eagle will be hired as a holiday relief firefighter according to the terms of the collective agreement and following successful completion of the 6-week orientation, and that a pool be created for his position. I so move.
Call for seconder. Councilor Von Richter, questions, all in favor? Contrary, motion carried. Move to 10C, the promotion to deputy fire chief with Councilor Von Richter.
Thank you, your worship. Be it resolved that Scott Rowe be promoted to the position of deputy fire chief effective 30 June 2025. I so move.
Call for seconder. Deputy Mayor Mawini, questions, all in favor? Contrary, motion carried. We'll go to 10D, the hiring of RCP detachment service assistant with Councilor Murdoch.
Thank you, worship. Be it resolved that Jada Etienne be hired as an RCMP detachment service assistant effective 7 July 2025, and that a pool be established for this position. I so move.
Call for seconder, Councilor Daw. Questions, all in favor? Contrary, motion carried. We move to 10E, the hiring of a water and sewer supervisor with Councilor Von Richter.
Thank you, your worship. Be it resolved that John Lyons be hired as the water and sewer supervisor with a start date of 7 July 2025. I so move.
Call for seconder, Councilor Murdoch. Questions, all in favor? Contrary, motion carried. Move to 10F, the purchase of land on Sear Street with Councilor Daw.
Thank you, your worship. Be it resolved that the mayor and CAO be authorized to enter into the purchase and sale agreement to purchase 87 square meters of land off Sear Street in the amount of $6,415 for future land development. I so move.
Call for seconder, Councilor Kirkbride. Questions, all in favor? Contrary, motion carried. Move to 10G, the collective agreement between the town of Oromocto and the Professional Firefighters Association Local 1576 with Deputy Mayor Mawini.
Thank you, worship. Be it resolved that the mayor and chief administrative officer clerk be authorized to endorse a collective agreement with the IAFF Local 1576 for the period of January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2028, pending the union's ratification. I so move.
Call for seconder, Councilor Von Richter. Questions, all in favor? Contrary, motion carried. Then we'll move down to 10H. And it's the tender award for consultant design services for the Oromocto Regional Wellness and Recreation Center with Councilor Murdoch.
Thank you, your worship. Resolved that the bids received that MJMA Acre Architects in the amount of $3,390,000 plus HST be accepted for the provision of the prime design consultant services for the Oromocto Region Wellness and Recreation Center. I so move.
All for seconder, for Da, questions? All in favor? Contrary, motion carried. I'll call for a mover for adjournment by Councillor Kirkbride. Seconder, Deputy Member Winnie, questions? All in favor? Contrary, motion carried.